Welcome to On the Issues. I'm Phoenix Councilman Jim Waring. And joining me today is Maricopa County Supervisor Steve Chucri. Supervisor Chucri, thanks for joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a county supervisor and some of your responsibilities. You have a very interesting district. It is bigger than a congressional district. Probably a lot of people wouldn't realize that. 5 members of the board. You want to talk a little bit about some of your responsibilities?
That would be great. First and foremost, sure. Jim, we've known each other for a lot
of
years.
Long time, that's right.
So it's good to see you, and it's good to work alongside you in many ways, but also great to be here this morning. So you're right, Maricopa County. If you look at Phoenix and Maricopa County, we're really two of the largest governments, if you want to refer to it that way, in the state of Arizona. And Maricopa County in and of itself is the 4th largest county in the nation.
It's bigger than some states, right?
Bigger than some states. I think Delaware, and there's a handful of other states.
I think San Diego County, right? That's bigger than us, but other than that.
No, well, what you have is two interesting things. Not only are we the 4th largest county in the nation, we also have the 3rd largest jail system. Wow. And if you break it down as far as size and scope of who we are and what we do, LA County is the largest county in the nation. Then you've got Cook County in Chicago. We all know Cook County, which is the 2nd. And then 3rd is Harris County in Texas. Now, Harris County and Maricopa County are so close in population that sometimes we could, maybe for a day or two, we're the 3rd largest, and then they fall to the 4th. But those are the largest counties, and wherever we can, as much as possible, we try to mimic some of the good things they're doing just because we're so close in size. My district in particular has 9 cities and 2 Indian communities. We've got the Fort McDowell Indian community, as well as the Salt River Pima Indian community. And so it's large. It takes in a lot of cities and a lot of area.
Well, you have a unique situation because you have Cave Creek and Carefree, cover a lot of Mesa. You used to live in Mesa, now you're in Paradise Valley, so you get a lot of these other cities. I think you said 9 cities are in your district, at least in part or in whole.
So we've got, we take in just about the upper quarter of Gilbert, and then we take in a majority, if not all, of Mesa, a little bit of Apache Junction, and of course in Phoenix we take in the Arcadia area, all up to 40th Street and Camelback area. We take in all of Scottsdale, and then you have Carefree, as you mentioned, Cave Creek, the Rio Verde community. And so it adds up very, very quickly. And then the eastern quarter of Paradise Valley as well.
I think you said about 800,000 people.
800,000 people with some very distinct characteristics, you know, and different concerns and issues. Just yesterday, I was meeting with President Ray of the Salt River Pima Indian community about what their issues are and how we can work more together. And one of the things I campaigned on as we're talking about the cities and the inner workings of local and county government is how do we work better together? What amazed me, Jim, is that when I was running for office 4 years ago, I kept getting told time and time again, well, we don't know what the county does. We never hear from our county representatives and the like. And so to me, that just isn't good government. And growing up in the car business here in Arizona, my grandfather was a first licensed auto dealer in this state. I learned at a very early age that communication is so important. And if you want to really be successful in life, good and clarified communication is what gets you there. And a lot of hard work, of course. So we made it a priority to reach out to all of the communities in my district and to make sure we understood what their needs were. How do we work together to not only make Mesa or Scottsdale or Phoenix better and Maricopa County better, but how do we make it more agile, more nimble, and have better representation because of it for the great people you and I both have the opportunity to represent. So when we had those reigns just a year ago, that was a good example of how we work together with the city of Mesa in our flood control district, our emergency services district, or I should say department, in going and seeing the needs of the people, hearing from the people, hey, how did this happen? How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? And, you know, they call it the 1,000-year reign or the 100-year reign, whatever you want to call it. But if we didn't set up and prime the pump, if you will, with making those relationships with the right people in Mesa ahead of time, we would have all been scrambling when the crisis comes. So that was one great benefit of our outreach, I think, early on in working with these various communities.
I want to talk a little bit about how big is the budget, where does the money come from, and what do you spend it on?
Well, that's an excellent question. It's a $2.2 billion budget, so it's a large budget. I think the state budget that they just passed out is close to $10 billion. You remember
so
that
about
from
a fifth of that's about what it was.
Yeah.
It's just getting back to what it
Yeah,
was in
exactly.
the early 2000s.
And so you remember how big those budgets were when you were in the legislature. And what we're trying to do with first of all, a $2.2 billion budget is make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing as a Maricopa County responsible county. And the 65 enumerated priorities and objectives we have by statute that we're held accountable for. So what that means at the end of the day, I think for the residents of not only Phoenix but Maricopa County is it's probably 4 to 5 major things that they see that impacts them on an everyday basis. 12% of that $2.2 billion budget is comprised of your tax bill comes to Maricopa County. So 12% of the bill you get in the mail twice a year comes to Maricopa County. A large part of that goes to the school districts. And I would encourage your viewers to look at their property tax bill because we break it out by way of almost a pie chart as to what percentage goes to school districts, what goes to...
Which I look at every year,
yes,
and I think is really helpful, frankly. I'm glad you guys do it that way.
I think most people, and there's no fault in this, think that, it's all just going to the county since they're the taxing entity, and that's not true. The state is part of that, the school districts are part of that, and of course we are. So what we do with those monies is really, a lot of it has to do with public safety. When I mentioned to you the third largest jail, running a jail is not an easy thing to do.
That's why we pay you to take our prisoners.
Exactly.
Phoenix is very expensive.
That's right. You have very nice prisoners. The reality, though, is the prosecution that's required, the public defender, our county attorney is, I think, one of the best in the nation. So running that part of county government, it really about equates to 52%. Of our budget.
And that includes the prosecution?
That includes the prosecution, that includes the public defender, that includes MCSO, our sheriff's deputies. And you heard the tragedy that happened just a few days ago where we had a deputy get shot and the sadness that happened thereafter. So we can never underestimate the importance of law enforcement because when you pick up that phone and you need someone to be there for you and God forbid, you have to go through the court process because of some tragedy that happened to your family, we need to make sure we have the best and the brightest there serving us in that way. So a lot of what we do is that. And then if you really start to break it down more in a granular way, we run the morgue for Maricopa County, which is a big job in and of itself. We have to make sure restaurants and swimming pools are up to standards to make sure that the public doesn't get sick or doesn't get hurt in any way. So when you look at the broken pieces that fall between state government and local government, really it's the county that comes in and takes care of that. And some of them are more rural areas, our county island areas, where we're taking care of a lot of the road systems and managing that through our Department of Transportation. And that touches every community really throughout Maricopa County. So those are the big issues, but 52% really has to go with public safety.
Well, like you said, it's a huge budget, and there are 5 of you on the board. Right. When you started, you had a lot of savvy veterans who were there. You had folks who had been serving a long time. I don't know what the average tenure was, but it seemed like at least a decade or more.
Absolutely.
And now, with Andy Kanasik announcing he was not going to run for re-election, so in January, would you be the longest serving supervisor?
It's you're making me feel old already.
I don't mind to make you feel old, but it's just funny how quickly.
That's an excellent way of putting it. I didn't even think that way. Denny Barney and I would be the senior.
Barney got elected the same year.
Yeah, Denny Barney and I got elected at the same time, so we would be the senior members. Clint Hickman came on just shortly thereafter. But you bring up a great point. And
dramatic changing of the guard.
Yeah,
because it was a very consistent group for many years.
Well, to your question, I think the average time was about 17 to 18 years on the board, and that's certainly. That dynamic, I think, was probably ready for change, to be honest with you. But what I think the new board is focused on and looking at is how do we bring a business mindset to government, whether it be Supervisor Barney, myself, Supervisor Hickman, and in many ways our newest member, Steve Gallardo. We're trying to see how do we become as agile and nimble as the private sector. And so what we've been able to do is usher in new ideas, new concepts, new formulas, if you will, on how we can do things better. Part of that has been working with Phoenix. Here in your planning and development office, we have a kiosk right next to you. So it's one-stop shopping if you have development needs. So those simple things have made a great difference.
Relatively new phenomenon. We're trying to make a little more seamless transition for
absolutely.
constituents.
And if it wasn't for that communication that we just spoke about, some of these things wouldn't be happening. And so what I came into office hoping for and trying to have as a mandate, and I'm sure the people watching this show feel the same way, is expect more from government, but also expect more from the people you elect to office. And let's hold people accountable. Let's try to be more transparent. Let's try to be more businesslike in our approach and look at them not as residents of Maricopa County or residents of Phoenix, but look at them more so as customers of Maricopa County, customers of Phoenix. And when you put things and you see things through that lens, it's amazing what you can get accomplished. So just last year, we were able to usher in personnel reform when I was chairman last year. And we had the legislature work with us on that because what we found is we had 90% of our, by statute, we had 90% of our employees be merit protected. That means you had to go through a 15-point process to fire anyone. And listen to this, Jim, you had to interview 50+1% of every open position in Maricopa County.
So I'm sure you get hundreds of applicants for certain positions.
And our county assessor's office had to hire 2 people just to do the interviews. Our county recorder had to do a series of interviews over weeks just for an entry-level position. That's not good government. That's not mimicking or trying to emulate what happens in the private sector. That's slow, that's clunky, that's not what we need.
It doesn't produce a better outcome.
It's not. And so what we've done is we've gotten that bill now signed into law. As of last year, as a county, we adopted some of those principles. So if you see somebody that fits the bill, that's going to be a great employee, you don't have to interview 65 people. Interview the 4 or 5 that you think are best and then make your decision, which has been terrific. Just in a short matter of time, we've seen great results from that. And then more importantly, if someone's not pulling their own weight and they're hiring, they're hiding behind being merit protected or whatever else, you can call them out and say, hey, look, if we don't see improvement, we're going to have to help you find something else because we want to hold people accountable. We want performance-related results. So to suggest that government by nature has to be this entity that is non-performing, that gives crappy customer service and just isn't right, that's not acceptable, and I think we've been able to prove that over the past 4 years.
Again, one of the goals here today was to sort of educate folks who might watch this show about what the county does, but you mentioned something that they may be unaware of in terms of your year as chairman. You want to talk a little bit about that? You don't have a mayor, so nobody's getting elected county-wide, so that's a rotating basis or elected by your peers?
It is. If any one of us messes up pretty badly, you're not going to get the chairmanship. And that's happened over years, but out of respect, it typically rotates. And it goes through the 5 board members. It's mostly been Republicans, to be honest with you, that have held that job. But it's an honor to do it. It's a lot of work. But you get to set the tone. You get to set the agenda, which is great. You also are responsible for the budget, and that's something that I think all 5 of us have really made a priority and have been keenly aware of the past 4 years. Is how do we make sure that government is operating in a lean fashion? So instead of having huge contingency emergency funds, what makes sense? I mean, you look at your constituents and mine, people don't have millions of dollars in an emergency fund. And so why should government? And so what we found is let's return those dollars back to our voters, back to the residents of Maricopa County, and make sure that they are utilizing the dollars best to their ability. So that was one thing we did early on. We found that we had some good rainy day funds. It was good leadership in that way, but we were holding on to too much money. So what we did is we said, why don't we look at that, put that money back where it belongs, to the people, and then let's see how lean we can be and have maybe 2, 3, 4 months of operating income. So that's now our new model, is to have 2 to 3 months of an emergency fund set aside. And economists from some of the best economists in Arizona find that model to be very good. And then we took it a step further and said, when it comes to these capital projects, we don't need granite countertops in our county buildings. And so just by sharpening the pencil, just by looking at it in a different way, hiring some new people that have a great experience in facilities management, but aren't beholden to anyone. Just one person alone came into Maricopa County and saved taxpayers almost $75 million the past 3 years just by cutting out a lot of things that we don't need when it comes to our buildings. And so when you're a county this size, the work always continues, but it's been very gratifying when you're told time and time again that government can't run like a business, to actually institute business principles and have them succeed.
Well, I know 20 years ago the county was in dire financial straits. That was obviously well before your time,
Sure.
but I know you were a citizen here, so I'm sure you were aware. And then David Smith came in as the county executive, and he was there for a long time. I don't know, probably 20 years or close to it.
Correct.
And then Tom Manos, and now he's leaving. So what are their responsibilities? I know how it works here at the city. We're sort of like a board of directors, and then we hire a city manager who deals with the staffing and hiring of police chiefs and fire chiefs. We were talking about that before the show, where we are in that process. Is it the same at the county?
Yeah, very much so. And what I think we got in Tom Manos was someone who completely understood what our priorities were.
Very experienced guy.
Very experienced guy.
For a less experienced board.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so if you look at the timing, that's a perfect way of putting it. When you look at the construct of the board, that 70%, almost 80% of us were new just that first year or two. We needed someone with not only experience in government, but someone who also understood what our priorities were. And Tom Manos was amazingly talented at understanding what that is and what that means. And so it was like running a race, and you're handing the baton to the runner behind you. It was that seamless. And so Tom just retired a few days ago, actually, and he'll be sorely missed. But I think what we're looking to do is, how do we continue the work that he's helped us accomplish over the past 4 years in finding a new county manager? But also, since we've had, I think, some great accomplishments over the 4 years now, I think we have to get a bit more granular and say, okay, how do we start to look at things that might be a little more difficult? We kind of got the top line reforms taken care of, but now how do we make sure that they sit and that they continue and that trickles down to not only just department heads, right, but all of your rank and file employees. And we're looking at things like, what are our idling times on our fleets? How much gas are we wasting? And we're finding just those simple things are saving hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and in some cases millions. Let me tell you one more.
You're speaking to me. I'll tell you, nobody turns off more lights at their house than I do. Those little things can add up.
You're supposed to unplug the toaster apparently too, because that still is using juice. But let me tell you one exciting thing. So earlier in the program, we were talking about 52% of our budget goes to public safety, whether that be the law enforcement side or the prosecution and the public defense side. What we're finding is we have 26 different justice courts. We have inmates who don't always tell you the truth, whether they took their medication or not, and you're transporting these inmates to a variety of different court systems. Well, the cost is higher than you would expect. And if someone should get ill or something happens and they have to be hospitalized, there's all types of things that can go wrong. And it's not only Murphy's Law in a situation like that, Jim, it's likely going to happen. And so not only do you have those incidental things that happen, you have the risk, right, to public safety. You have a flight risk. And so we got our heads together and created this program in concert with, in collaboration with the sheriff and the county attorney. And we came up with this program called Smart Justice. And now what we're doing is, instead of transporting these individuals to these numerous different courts spread out throughout the county and the city of Phoenix and other cities, we're doing it video conferencing. So the judge is on one side of the camera, the inmate's on the other, and it's amazing how much money that in and of itself is going to save. And think about it, you don't have the risk to society, you don't have the risk to the public, and so we're just at the cusp of that program, and I think it's going to bring about tremendous results.
Well, point out, we have such a big physical, just large footprint of a county, just a sprawl, just to transport people. You make a good point. I mean, it's a lot of space to cover. Switching gears slightly, so we have the zoning process here in Phoenix, which I think we've talked about on our show before, but you also have a similar process, or you want to walk us through a little bit of how that works for you?
Sure, planning and development, and we have this thing called the dust permit. The EPA for the greater good, I think, of our community. He wants to make sure that our particular factor and everything is right. Don't always agree with the EPA. I probably disagree more than agree with them, as a matter of fact. But what we're looking at and what we've done as it relates to planning and development, and one of my priorities early on is we had a 43-page dust permit, if you can believe that you had to fill out on a regular basis, just for dust. And so if you know developers, I know developers, and they were saying, why do we have to fill this out time and time again when it's the same data, it's the same information? And so it was one of the perfect case studies of this is how we've always done it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be that disruptor that you see in the private sector, whether it's a shaving device or something else, right? How do we be that disruptor? And so we looked at it and said, why do we need 43 pages? And the true story is we didn't. And within 90 days, we culled it back to 7 pages, and it's all online. You don't have to fax it in. You don't have to print it out. I mean, it's all online, which is how it should be. We got together with your leadership and your colleagues' leadership and said, Phoenix is obviously the largest city. Why should we make someone go to their planning department and then have to go find the county's planning department? Why can't we just do it in one stop? And so that's how we got our kiosk next to yours, your planning desk, and we have a planning desk right next to yours. And so if you have to get your plan stamped or whatever else, you could do it together. And so that's how our planning department works. It's no really different than a city. It has to do with county islands primarily. And then when it comes to dust regulation, a few ancillary things, the county has to step in and work with a municipality.
Well, we used to have, I think the average number of trips to our planning department for a project, even if it was just something for your house, I think it was 14 trips. Wow. You had to come down here. I mean, you had to personally sign everything. We tried to cut that down now to 1 or 2, and I know you're trying to do the same. You know, we've only really been working together like this. You know, this is relatively recent, last couple of years, but I think it's, you know, I think it should pay off for constituents who used to have pretty frustrating experiences. They had to come down to City Hall, where we are right outside right now, and find a place to park, and all the things that aggravate people who don't want to make those trips and have other jobs and so forth. So I think in both levels of government, we're trying to be more efficient and more streamlined. A lot of thanks goes to Sal DeCiccio, Bill Gates, sure, and Tom Simplot worked a lot on this issue, trying to get us to be more efficient and more effective. You actually hired our old planning director, Deborah Stark, so that was, I think that was probably very helpful, just because she, of course, knew our system intimately from years of service. But
well, and she was, and you're right. I think in many ways, Sal DeCiccio and Bill Gates, you and others, were an imperative step in the process of a good model to learn from.
It was just too unwieldy the way it was before.
Well, not only that, but if I'm correct, you also put timelines associated with it by way of hours. So we guarantee within 48 hours, 36 hours, whatever the case might be, that we're going to get your plans back to you. And I think that's
But that wouldn't have helped our constituents, our mutual constituents, if then you had to spend 14 trips going to the county or take all that time. Exactly. So it's great that we're in sync and making it a much more seamless process for people.
Absolutely. And Jim, I'm sure you would agree that, you know, when you look in government, you see that common sense isn't always that common. And
a lot of these reforms were hard won.
That's right.
Put it that
that's
way.
Right.
So.
And so that's what our constituents expect. That's what our customers, which we should more respectfully call them, as our customers expect that. And
why shouldn't they? They would expect it everywhere else.
Right.
You know?
And you know, I've got a saying that in Maricopa County, the checkbook we use should be no different than the checkbook that's in the right top drawer of our many customers. Not only that, but the customer service you receive from Maricopa County should be no different than that of your favorite restaurant, hotel, dry cleaner, or restaurant, or any other service you go to and receive on a regular basis. So that's what we're trying to achieve. I think City of Phoenix has done a remarkable job when it comes to planning and development, and we're hopefully emulating that in many ways, I think, through our partnership.
Well, I appreciate that. We will never claim that it's perfect. You always have to keep working. Sal and I talk about that a lot. But you know, if you just put that in perspective, if a dry cleaner was always late with your stuff, if it took 14 trips,
got lost,
you would find another dry cleaner. People
Absolutely.
don't have that option with us, and they were really sort of captive customers, and that's not the way it should be. And so we've tried to change. We've tried to up our game. I know you guys are as well. We have 14,500 employees. How many does the county have?
We're not too far from you. I think about 13,000.
And it's hard to get excellent service every day from everybody, but we're certainly trying to make reforms that will make that possible. Yeah. You've enjoyed your time. You were a newbie to government service. To my knowledge, you hadn't run for office before.
First time.
I remember you told me your plans. And I looked horrified and said something like, "Why would you do that?" And then I realized, wait, I did the same thing, and I appreciated your commitment, your willingness, because you did have a professional life, which is how we knew each other apart from this. Your wife has sort of worked in this business for a long time as well, so you knew what you were getting in for, and it hadn't always been the smoothest run at the county in the years leading up to your election, which I believe was in 2012, if memory serves. Right. And so you knew you could be hanging with sort of tough duty. A lot of constituents, a lot of things can go wrong, but it seems like so far you've enjoyed it and it's going well.
It's been a great experience. It's been a fabulous experience. I'll tell you, the biggest surprise that came to me is really understanding how jails work. And jail's not a place any of us ever want to be. Let me tell you that.
I've done the tour voluntarily.
Yes,
I might add. Yeah,
that's right.
And we send our prisoners to you.
You want to keep it that way. You want to keep it volunteer. Yep. Trust me.
Yeah.
And so that's been a surprise. The travails and the difficulty of inmates killing each other, of just the nuances of trying to make sure that you're providing their constitutional rights in some very difficult circumstances sometimes. And mental health issues, really, Jim, became strikingly clear as an elected official.
And substance abuse. That's
absolutely.
Another thing, yeah.
And so
sometimes they go hand in hand, sometimes not, but that's
right.
a big one. Yeah.
That's right. And of course I expected to be able to bring business principles to government when it comes to the dust permit and planning and development, all the other things we've just spoken about. But when it comes to running a jail, it's a different animal altogether. And so that's been the biggest surprise. But I will tell you, it's been very rewarding. And I think if you look at it from the perspective that I know you do and I do, that it's really an honor to be able to serve people.
It is. It really
and to take that to heart. That we're not politicians. I think we're hopefully folks that have been hired to do a job by our constituency. And if you look at it through that lens, and you take it to heart, you can do some pretty amazing things because you're not worried about getting reelected, or you're not worried about the next best thing. You're focused on the job at hand. And the old adage is true: the harder you work, or I guess the luckier you get is the harder you work, right? And having to work hard brings about good luck and I think good success.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to come on this show very much. And that's all we have time for, unfortunately, but I've enjoyed this conversation very much. Steve, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions or comments, please call my office at 602-262-7445 or visit my website at phoenix.gov/district2. And we look forward to seeing you next time on The Issues.